The Supreme Court has now ordered an altogether ban on selling crackers in Delhi. This, of course, keeping in mind the air quality that, of course, has suffered completely nosedive post-Diwali, with winters now setting in as well. Keeping all of that in view, the Supreme Court now banning the sale of crackers in Delhi. For how long is this ban to continue? Is there a specific timeline to this? Should this ban have come earlier? Of course, is a question that's going to be asked as well. But as an update on this breaking input, we're being told this is a total ban till further notice. So we're looking at an all-out ban, crackers of all types being banned across Delhi. The sale of crackers has been banned till any further notice. This being a huge decision there that's coming from the Supreme Court, of course, keeping in mind the air pollution that we've suffered in the Delhi NCR region in the past month, particularly what we've seen after Diwali, where each of us were forced to wear masks even indoors. Our correspondent Abhimanyu with those details. Abhimanyu, please go ahead on that order.
Exactly, it is something really big coming out from the Apex Court, and of course there were petitions earlier too which had sought a ban on firecrackers. A blanket ban was sought, but now, of course, as far as licenses are concerned, there would certainly be a stop as far as grant of licenses is concerned, and also operational difficulties might kick in for the sale of firecrackers in Delhi and NCR. And of course, this was in course of a petition which was filed as a public interest litigation in order to check the growing air pollution levels in Delhi and NCR, which had seen an increasing spike in the past few years. And of course, it remains to be seen whether there would be a counter PIL, a counter petition filed by any firecracker manufacturers or distributors. But as of now, of course, it will go a long way as far as curbing air pollution is concerned.
It's of course going to be a long way to curb air pollution, but given the fact here, Abhimanyu, sale of crackers, of course, peaks only during Diwali. If we're looking at a total ban till further notice, how effective is it going to be in the coming year? Because the essential thrust of the sales, of course, only takes place on Diwali.
Well, of course, the essential sales may take place during Diwali, but as far as other celebrations go, it's something that cannot be ignored, is the fact which was also put forth in course of the hearing of this petition, was the fact that in any course of celebrations around the city, for any reason, be they religious, wedding, or even sport-based celebrations, crackers were being increasingly used to celebrate, which of course turned out to be a year-long phenomena, and of course it kept the sales going ticking the entire year. So of course it will go a long way as far as curbing sales is concerned, and for something which we cannot ignore at this point of time is that although Diwali is the time when the maximum sales take place, but yet in the past few years sales due to other reasons also had kicked in as far as reasons for celebrations were concerned. So, of course, the sales took place the entire year, not only on Diwali.
Please stay with us, Abhimanyu. We're trying to get in a reaction here from environmentalists on this as well. We have Vimlendu Jha with us. Thanks for being with us, Vimlendu. Your first reaction on this order that's coming from the Supreme Court, to what extent is it going to be effective in cleaning up the air?
I think it's a very, very welcome judgment by the Supreme Court. Something like this should have actually happened before Diwali. We are actually right now, as much as we don't talk about Delhi's air anymore, Delhi's air still is in severe category. I think it's very important that there needs to be something very, very strategic. Of course, this alone is not going to solve the entire mess that we all are in, but this is definitely a good move.
Okay. So you say this alone not to solve the problem, of course, but huge step in itself.
That's right, and the main thing is that if the judgment is also executed properly, because the idea is not to just for the Supreme Court to pass a judgment, but also on the ground for authorities to really execute this judgment, and that's going to be the main challenge, because Delhi NCR is huge, and for both, because there are two things that the court has done, both from a sale point of view and also use point of view. They've actually banned both. and it's very, very important for us to see that, how much of this is actually transacted on the ground, and it's very, very critical.
That's right. It would be important to see that this is really implemented on ground. Of course, there's going to be a huge market of sellers that is going to be affected by this ban. But Vimlendu, given the fact that, as I was pointing out to our team, our correspondent there as well, that the thrust of sales of crackers really does take place only on Diwali. But there are nevertheless year-round sales that continue, particularly even during this wedding season.
Diwali, there are every other festival right now. When we're talking about the wedding season, everywhere around you actually see firecrackers being used. So it's important because right now, if it was a normal situation, I think it's all fine. Delhi NCR is in extreme public health emergency situation, and therefore some unprecedented, some extreme steps had to be taken, ideally by the government. It's unfortunate that the courts of our country actually have to get into governance. This step should have been taken by the central government and Delhi government, which they did not, and therefore Supreme Court had to really come into this and really control our air. So it's important, critical. Now the magic is in execution, is in implementation.
All right, the magic, of course, being in the implementation. This, at the end of the day, is an order that has come in by the Apex Court. Vimlendu Jamani, thanks for sharing your first reaction on this.